Time to talk about the stay home, stay safe order here in Michigan again. It's Friday, April 24th, and it's not quite noon yet. Our governor came on TV at 11 to make an announcement, and I watched the announcement live and I wrote down notes during the announcement and afterward when she was taking questions from the press. I'm going to try to do this voiceover in one take, so bear with me because I'm really not good at reading off of the script. So first and foremost, the stay home, stay safe executive order has been extended till May 15th. Now, the problem I had with this is that she waited until 9 minutes into her speech, her address, whatever you want to call it, before she said this. They were actually showing on a box on the screen below her. They superimposed that the order was going to stay in place till May 15th. So we knew before she said it, which I think is wrong. I think she should have started her speech with that. She was going on praising all of these companies and all the things these people have done and all these people she's talked to and all this other BS to build us up right before she knocked us down. And when somebody does that, for me, in my experience in life, I lose a lot more trust with them, a lot more confidence in them, because sometimes you just need to go out and say it. It's kind of like setting up your girlfriend or boyfriend right before you break up with them or something. So it's extended until May 15th, which is, more or less about another 3 weeks. She was asking people to change personal habits like rubbing their face or rubbing their eyes or things like that. Not licking their finger before they grab the bag in the produce department at the store to pull it off of the reel. These are things that people have developed over the course of their life. They're set in their ways. She's been asking people to stay home unless they have necessary business, or to limit how many people out of the household go to perform this necessary business, and other things like that. And people have been openly disregarding it. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about the protest in Lansing. I think it's great that people protested, but it fell on deaf ears and it actually backfired on the people who want this to stop. They actually made themselves look worse than the message they were trying to project. And the governor played on that, and it didn't help. But I'm still glad, though, that people went out there to protest. See, the thing is, there's lots of people out there that from other states who keep telling me about how bad it is in my state, yet they don't live here. As a matter of fact, some of them have never even set foot in this state. Unlike some people out there who have lived in the same place their whole life and have only visited places as a tourist or something, I've lived all over. I understand how there are differences in people and economies and the geography and the weather and everything all over this country. And I don't think enough people understand that. They just think everything is the way it is at their place. The thing is, things here in Michigan are bad, but they're not as bad as what people are telling me they are, or what I'm seeing on the national news. Our governor has not been enforcing all of these orders where there's roadblocks and people are getting ticketed or they can't protest or they can't this or can't that. She's been out there bad-mouthing people. She's been out there, trying to encourage people and a lot of things have been said. But overall, she hasn't clamped down on stuff the way she kind of maybe was implying, or the way people read into it. So that being said, that's why I'm calling this one idiocy, not tyranny. She's an idiot, but she's not a tyrant, at least not yet. But there's more to come. So continuing on with the changes to this executive order, she's going to be reopening certain businesses with certain rules. For example, a non-essential business that was closed before can be reopened now if they offer curbside pickup. I don't see how that's any different than just having stuff delivered. So why would a department store reopen when you could just order the stuff and have it shipped to your house? So I don't see how that's really going to help. Other places like golf courses are reopened. As long as you wear a mask, you exercise social distancing, and you can't use a golf cart. Why not the golf cart? She brought out the whole motorboat thing because there was a lot of of confusion about, can you be out on a boat? Because she was encouraging people to get on kayaks and canoes, but not to be out on a motorboat, because with the motorboat, you've got to fill it full of gas, and that means you have to go to a gas station. And going to gas stations are bad because that's where the germ or the virus can spread. But she's not going to close gas stations. Okay, well, what is it, lady? And she caught a lot of flack over that. And she's saying, nope, you can go out on your motorboat. The thing is, let's just say she wasn't, she said, no, you can't use your motorboat because then you got to fill it with gas. But you can get a canoe or kayak. You're still going to load that canoe or kayak in the back of a truck and drive it somewhere to put it in the water. So you're probably going to stop with that truck and fill it up with gas or diesel anyhow. So it really doesn't make any sense. Do you see what I mean about tyranny? It's not tyranny, it's idiocy. She's not thinking this stuff through. The worst thing that she's had to say in there was about wearing a mask in public. Now you have to wear a mask in public. Now, she said that she's not going to fine anybody or arrest anybody for not wearing a mask in public. So she's not really enforcing this. However, a business has the right to refuse you entry to the business if you're not wearing a mask. She says you don't have to wear a surgical mask. It just needs to be a cloth face covering. So let's see how well this works out. I know a lot of people were already wearing masks, but they were wearing them improperly. They were still rubbing their face or pulling them down to talk, doing whatever, not wearing them over their mouth and nose both. And guys, for those of you out there that think your mask is your shield, it's not a shield. The mask says to other people, I'm sick and I'm using this mask so I don't cough and sneeze all over you. It's not really sending out the image that I don't want to get sick from your stuff. I'm not saying the mask doesn't have a protective barrier. It doesn't allow some form of protection. But there's a reason why they wear them in hospitals and places like that and change them out between patients and everything else like that. It's a point of use item. It is not necessarily an all-day reusable item. However, that's what we're doing. If that makes people feel better, fine. But that's all it's really doing. It's making people feel better. And I don't like the idea that we're being forced to wear them out in public. Although, really, more or less, the grocery store can just refuse me entry. I'm not going to get arrested by the cops. So see, there's no tyranny there, just idiocy. She's talking more about data. She's always into studying the data, and talking about we're going to see what happens in other places and all this other stuff. She's all about facts and figures, but she's not about practical. She's not about real life experience. She's not about you and I. She's not about the average citizen, the average blue-collar citizen here in Michigan who just wants to raise their family, live their life, and we live paycheck to paycheck. That's most of the people in the state. She doesn't think like us, she doesn't understand us, and she's more interested in looking at numbers. Sometimes statistics are good, but sometimes statistics don't give you a real picture of what's going on out there, and it's part of the reason that she's very unpopular right now. She keeps pushing for testing, but testing is almost next to no good. Let's say you go somewhere, you get tested, and I talked about this in another video. You get tested and you get the results right away, and it says you're negative. Great. And then you drive 10 minutes down the road and you go to the grocery store and you get exposed to somebody who has this. Wearing a mask or not, it doesn't matter. Now you've got it. So 10 minutes ago, you didn't have it, but now you have it. You see how testing really isn't helpful? If you have symptoms and you get tested and the doctor says, yes, you are positive, you need to self-quarantine for 14 days, that's where the test comes in handy. But it's just like the mask. It's a feel-good measure. If we just get everybody tested and test everybody on a regular basis, we'll all be safe. It's BS. I would rather this test be available for people who are showing symptoms and then have some way to encourage them to stay home. But not necessarily lock them in the house either. How do we do that? I don't know. Because there's a lot of gray area there where we're trampling on people's civil liberties. But it's still not tyranny here in the state of Michigan. The Michigan legislature is meeting today to form a committee to figure out a way to enact some laws to restrict her power. They're saying that her overreach is way too much and they want to limit it. She said that they should take paid time off instead of doing this because they're gathering together and that's not safe. She's being a little bit of a smartass about it. You could tell some of this with her is political. And she's being a hypocrite because she's saying this isn't the time or the place, but yet she's doing it herself. And she says she will not sign any piece of legislation that limits her power or any future governor's powers. She won't do it. That's the nail in her coffin. She's not going to get reelected now. I don't care what happens. She's not going to get reelected. She just sealed her fate right then and there. And even though she's not up for reelection this year, she will be in about 2.5 years. People will not forget this. She's not going to be our governor ever again. She was backpedaling on things, like reasons to declare some jobs non-essential, like when the contractor said to her, I work in these buildings by myself. I'm not around anybody. I don't have to worry about social distancing. I'm literally the only person in this building doing this repair or remodel, or that's what I do. And she says, well, yeah, but on the way to or from, you might touch the gas thingy. She was talking about the gas pump. She didn't even know what a gas pump was. Well, now she's backpedaling on jobs like that, going, well, yeah, maybe we can have those. Another thing she backpedaled on is the whole, hey, if I reopen the gardening departments and the nurseries, then that's going to encourage people to do projects at home, keeping them at home. What have I been saying? She's so ignorant. This is what I mean. It's not tyranny, it's idiocy. And last, I'd like to finish with, I've been complying. I've been supportive and I've been complying. I've been giving up some of my civil liberties and I've been dealing with this. Why? Because I'm a law-abiding, tax-paying, patriotic citizen, and I want us to get through this as quickly as possible. But her actions are doing things to prolong this, in my opinion. She still doesn't have a good strategy for getting us all back to work, and when she does, people are going to have to go through all kinds of crazy stuff to get into their work. They're going to have to answer questions. They're going to have to get their temperature taken. They're going to have to wear masks. They're going to have to remotely clock in. They're going to be doing all kinds of things that are going to make it take longer. There may be shutdowns in between shifts to sanitize the plant. How are you going to sanitize the factory if everybody's buying Clorox wipes at the same time? They don't have enough to go around. So there's going to be all kinds of things that are going to cause people to continue to not be able to go to work. There's going to be all kinds of things that are going to cost businesses more money. They're going to raise the price of their goods at a time where we're trying to get people to go back to buying stuff. They're not going to be interested in paying, because they're going to pass this on to the consumer. And it's going to be something where you're going to have to count on people who, with no medical training at all, to almost do some medical things as part of their job. And that's not what they signed on for. They're auto plant workers. And when she was addressed about the auto industry in the state of Michigan, she was firm about it's not restarting. This is the lifeblood of this state, and she doesn't care. And I'm not saying we should go back to work if it's unsafe. We shouldn't. But there's got to be something better. And I just think she's so narrow-minded. She's not thinking about that. She's not thinking about a whole lot of things. And this is what I mean. It's not tyranny. It's idiocy. Thanks for listening.